Hello, one and all. How are we all doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome back to another Knights of the 2x4 Table, a stream where we bring in some of the biggest Castle and Lego fans to talk about all sorts of topics, mostly Castle so far, because that's what's interesting me right now. But you know what? We're going to have fun with it anyways. Today, we don't have one specific topic in Castle that we're going to talk about. And you know what? We've talked about the new sets coming out. We've talked about, some really that's what we've talked about. But you know what? We're just going to go in a whole over of Castle, everything from original Castle themes to what's happening now. Maybe talk about some Nexo Knights. I don't know if we're going to put that on the table. I don't know if I'm going to have my guests leave immediately, but so coming, guys, all the way from Atlantic Brick Co., also the winner of Lego Masters Season 2, and even better than that, a huge Castle enthusiast, guys. It is Mark Erickson. How are you doing today, Mark?
How's it going, Brad?
Not too bad. I am so excited to talk Castle with you right now. We were talking a little bit before the show, guys, and it was having some fun. I think this is going to be one you guys are going to want to stick around for the whole show for, because we're definitely going to go into some of these topics pretty heavily. And as always, guys, if you're watching this for the first time, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like. And by the way, this show is brought to you today by Brick Monarch Shop. If you want awesome shirts and wall signs like this, go check them out. If you use code BRICKING10, you'll get 10% off at checkout. But guys, let's get into this right now. Mark, look, you people know you for a lot of crazy Castle stuff. They know you as like almost the king of Castle. I heard so I didn't watch Lego Master Season 2, as I said. I watched enough to see Moto because that's who I knew at the time. Maybe I got to watch it now, but
at some point.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I heard on the show that you had a challenge with someone to see who was the bigger Castle fan. Is this true?
Yes. So I can explain that for you, Brad. Basically, there was a themed challenge in Lego Masters a little later in the show, and it was Castle themed. And so me and Steven are like hopping up and down excited because we got a Castle challenge we can participate in. However, Caleb and Jacob, two of our competitors, are also gigantic Castle fans. And so maybe not quite to the level of me and Steven, but they're big Castle fans too. And so it became a conversation with Will Arnett that we're Castle fans. I'm like, yeah, we're the Castle bros, because that's what my space-loving friends in the north side of Atlanta love to call me, and Steven. And so it became a challenge of who's the real Castle bros, because there's two sets of brothers, both love Castle. And actually, Steven and I did not win that challenge. We actually lost to Caleb and Jacob. So we are no longer the Castle bros. I'm just a guy who loves castles. So
maybe I had the wrong person on my show today.
I can hook you up with Caleb later. Yes.
Okay, perfect. We'll have maybe we gotta have instead of building, we gotta have like a fact castle throwdown. Like
I think I'd be really bad at that. No.
Really? Okay.
He loves building castles, but doesn't have the same appreciation for the classics as maybe you and I do. So
yeah, let's rock that.
Exactly. We got the merch. We got the sets. Yes.
Oh gosh, yeah. I gotta know. Like, do you own every Castle set? I feel like you're what I've heard with what you do for a job. I feel like
it's possible. I know that I can build any Castle set. I know I have all the pieces too. Like for example, the Black Knight's castle. I realized I'm like, I don't have that one on display. I just got all the pieces out of my collection and built it. So it's like some of the things I'm capable of doing. But that being said, I only have probably less than a quarter of all the sets built and on display. So just get some of my favorites, because space becomes an issue at some point. But yeah, so not all of them, but definitely capable of building any one at any one time. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So I'm guessing you have a lot of the minifigures then too.
Yes, a whole bunch of them. I don't have them all together. I have a bin of. I'm currently sorting all my collection again, to try and get ready for conventions. But yeah, I have a couple, probably a 20, 30-pound bin of unsorted minifigures. And that's not as much as all the sorted ones. So yeah, they're not built right now, but I can muster an army of about 400 the Kingdom's Lion Knights when needed. Wow. So yeah, so that's my most. Yeah, exactly. So that's my most prominent faction. It's probably my favorite Castle faction. But I can get at least a squad of every team, so it's fine. So.
Wait, you said the 2010 Kingdom Lion Knights?
Wow. Exactly. Yes.
Favorite faction.
They're my favorite. I do love the Dragon Knights as well, but they're probably my top favorite for sure. So.
That is awesome. I didn't know that. I thought you were like a Clown of the Classics fan. So
Well, I love the classics too. I think my favorite set is the original Yellow Castle, but I think that was probably my peak buying and building period was in the early 2010s. And so the Kingdoms, Lions, and Dragon Knights were the castle faction at the time. And so because I just missed out on the fantasy era Crown Knights and Trolls, so just got, like I got a few of them at the tail end, and then missed them, and then so as soon as those guys hit store shelves, I was like, yes, and really enjoyed them. So,
do you have well, important question here is, do you have the goats then?
I don't, because for some reason I got every other set, but I somehow missed that one, thinking I'll get it later, and now I'm totally kicking myself because it is now one of the sets to have. So I have no real goats. I have some. Those non-Lego goats that have been floating around. Some of my friends got me some, but yeah, no real goats. No goat flex today. Just yeah.
I am only lucky because I went to a convention and I talked the guy down from like 400 for the whole set, and I was like, you know what? The goats just make this worth it. Both were in there. I got lucky, so I only got mine this year, so I can't really say much. But
hey, that's pretty awesome.
Exactly. Just quickly gonna say hi to some people. What's up, Jay Lego? Hope you're having a fantastic day. What's up, Hope Castle? Owen Revisky. We are talking about all things Castle today, as we're talking about already. Ethan the Artisan, how are you doing today, my friend? Hope you're doing well. But okay, so I have so many topics I want to talk to with you about, but like we're on the conversation of kingdoms, which I want to know if you agree with me on this. Whereas the Dragon Knights in that one are the most unique because of the dark green that they used, where every other castle faction was like green, like red mostly, or like black or blue.
Primary colors.
Yeah.
I think so. I think there's definitely an argument there because they were very dark, very cool looking. A lot of castle factions can be a little bit juvenile and very bright colors, but that's probably a little bit more realistic because medieval people really love the color because it was more expensive to make those colors. But nowadays we think dark green is probably a cooler look than so I think that they're definitely some of the coolest knights. I know that some of the bigger, more armored knights with the dark steel helmets and stuff, I'm like, those are just super cool looking. So I kind of agree with you. They're definitely the baddest looking knights. You know what I'm saying?
So help me settle an argument here. Are they better than the 2013 red ones?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love those too, but definitely Dragon Knights are far superior. They're far more valuable. I mean, there's just a lot of arguments to be made. I think the only thing they're missing is a real dragon because I don't think they had any actual physical dragons in those sets. They're just the Dragon Knights, which is cool, but I would have loved to see a big dark green dragon for them to ride, So.
Well, I mean, honestly, we've had so many dragon factions. I was just thinking, like, I did a post about how, like, there's 6 different lion factions. I think I want to say there's about 4 or 5 dragon factions.
At least, yeah.
Like Black Knights used the symbol at least. So there was Dragon Masters. We had 2013 and 2010, and I can't think of any other off the top of my head.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There could easily be 1 or 2 more shields that weren't really fully realized. I'm thinking Harry Potter and stuff probably had dragon-related things or snake-related things. But
at least I do know that.
So plenty of dragons to go with lions too. So
yes. Which I'm just saying, can we get something different next, Lego? Like, I'm glad they did Black Falcons at least this time around, but like, maybe find some new animals. Like
exactly, some Chevron Knights or some something else. It's got to be.
Bring back the Bear Knights from the CMF line. Like, those guys look sick. Like
exactly. There's definitely some options there. I'm glad to see the pink crown shield make a return in some of the newer sets. That's at least a huge new avenue for army building and whatnot. So
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you said Yellow Castle is one of your favorites. How do you feel about the new Crown Knight that we just got in the CMF line?
Well, super excited. Yeah. The CMF line, I think that shield, at least in sticker form, I don't know if they're printed or stickered yet, but that's going to be in the bottom of the big castle as well, the 90th anniversary. So really excited to see that. I'm hoping to build some figures. If you wanted to make them accurate to the old ones, you just need to get a plain blue minifigure with an armor piece and give them that shield, and they're good. So that's going to be super easy to build figures for. So I'm excited for that for sure.
For sure. I mean, I saw someone who was like, told me they want me to make an army with the horses as a joke, just as a mock with like the stick figure. I'm like, that would actually kind of fun at a convention. You just see like as I was telling you, I have like 100 Dragon Knights, and I think about 10 or 20 are mounted. Just have them all like with these like baddest looking like knights, and they're just all mounted on like stick horses.
Yeah, like brick built horses. Yeah, yeah,
that'd be great. So okay, I was wondering. So what is your kind of history with? Like, I mean, almost, a lot of people have Lego history of how they got into Lego, but what is your history with Lego Castle? Like, why is that, like, people know you for being the castle guy. What is kind of like, I mean, your adventure with that, we'll ask.
Yeah, probably started when me and Steven, my brother, were younger. We just, we were really outdoorsy kids, kind of rambunctious and wild. So we would just go cut down a sapling and make a big stick sword and just beat the crap out of each other, pretending we were knights and samurai and all this stuff. So we just had a great time, and that translated very quickly into our toys. Lego Castle was our favorite. We started with the original Knights Kingdom line that came out in the late 90s. And then we got the reissue, Black Falcon's Fortress and Guarded Inn. Nice. So as kids, like little kids, we're just playing with these classic factions, and we're just loving them. And then we went through the darker period of Castle with the Knights Kingdom 2 and all its sequels. We loved them, but they didn't age as well as some of the other themes. We still love them. But so it just kind of was a segue into all that. But the way we found the community was through ClassicCastle.com, which is an antique website that was designed in 2004, and it's still raw HTML, still there. You can go look at it. They still post stuff. And there was a forum there. They had yearly contests, and so we got involved with that probably around 2010. That's probably why the Kingdom's Knights are my favorites. And so, yeah, that was our whole segue into that. And so we've been building very consistently, pretty much mostly Castle, probably at least 50 or 60% Castle for the past decade. So having a great time. So.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, that kind of leads me into another question here. I want to really deep dive into Castle with you and talk about.
Please, yes, my favorite subject.
Exactly, this is perfect. I love doing these kind of conversations. So, like Knights Kingdom 2, we kind of touched on it, which some people consider one of the two worst castle themes that they have done. What's kind of the reason? I mean, from your perspective, why people dislike it?
So, the first wave understandably gets a lot of disregard because it's really basically just kind of a medieval Power Rangers, and it's all the knights are way too colorful. The sets were not the best. I mean, the big, forgetting the name of it now, the larger castle with the King Matthias, it was basically just kind of like a pyramid. It had some cool rotating features and stuff, but so set design not great, figure design not great. Especially for adults, AFOLs would have probably loathed these as when they first came out. I wasn't an adult fan of Lego at the time, but I can just imagine the people just raving on how bad these are. But so as kids, it doesn't really matter. They're just colorful knights. They have a great story. There's a villain, and we have fun. But there was a big disconnect there. I think that adult fans can more appreciate things like the 2007 and 2010 Castle Waves were a lot more grounded, had a lot more useful pieces. Better figure design, I think, and so there was more to appreciate for all ages. So I think that's why those themes get a lot of flack, and kind of deservedly so. But at the same time, I think that there are some really, truly amazing sets in there. If you look at the second wave of Knights Kingdom 2, Lord Vladic's Castle, that's a really cool set, and it actually got Lego a lot of prestige in the Toy Fair Award thing series and stuff like that. So there's gems and highlights for sure, but I can see why that's one of the low points for Lego Castle. That being said, it was one of my favorite times for building sets, so I have a soft spot for it too. So.
Honestly, one of my favorite things about that line, and listen to me before I actually like that they had heroes. I think it's something we don't see a lot of. And the heroes were they were super colorful, but they were kind of interesting. They try to make them unique. Like
they were all different. They all had a different strength and different character to them. So it's like, and they were a team, and they were, so I as a kid, I absolutely loved it. As an adult, I'm like, they're a little too colorful, but they still have fun, unique characters for each figure. So it's pretty cool.
Sure. The one thing I do like about that, though, and I found this out recently, they had a map, like kind of like a world map to connect. And I'm like, Lego, like we need this for the new stuff. Like, why is it
so easy? Yeah.
So easy. I mean, it really is. Like, you don't even have to be like, oh, this is where it is. It's just like, oh yeah, here's a border of the map. Like,
yeah, they had a nice little map on the back of sets and instructions. They had comics, and so there was a lot to appreciate and media-wise in those sets. So.
Did you find that the fact that there were like big figs kind of not great about it, or were
So we enjoyed those very much, but they weren't as Lego-y as some themes that Lego's done. They're kind of like borderline Bionicle and Galador, which is not good territory to be in sometimes. I love Bionicle.
if you
Galador
add
is kind of like,
Galador to something, I feel like that just like tanks it.
yeah, exactly. So I think that there's it's very fun for kids, but there's very little mock ability in those pieces. So it's like for me now, I'm not as drawn to those. However, I do have a lot of nostalgia for them. So,
Yes,
yeah,
very understandable. I mean, I mean, it's okay. So like, I've talked with someone about this. Like, I loved Exo Force. My first set I ever got was Exo Force.
I was rebuilding this bad boy just before the call because I'm like, I'm doing a video on him tomorrow. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Makes me so happy. Mark, can we be best friends?
Yeah, we're best friends, buddy. We're Brad and Mark all the way.
Do it. You might listen. My first sets that I got were I can't remember at the Cyclone. It was the green one with Rio.
Oh yeah, the spinning shoulder. Yeah.
And then the orange one with the big like claws. Those were my first two sets I ever got, and I actually just bought parts to rebuild them because I tried to rebuild them recently, and I'm getting back into buying those because I bought the small orange one from the first wave recently, and it sits on my desk at work, and I'm like, I gotta get some more of these. I
think that one is on this desk back here. That's one of Steven's favorite sets. And so yeah, we are huge Exoverse fans too, because that was a great theme. So.
It's honestly, I think one of the reasons I loved it so much was because it was kind of why I think I would have not minded the Nexo. Knights Kingdom 2 was because they were big, they can fit in your hand, and I think that's a people like Bionicles too. Like they were posable, they were customizable, but you could play with them, and they're fit in your hand, not like little minis. Like I remember taking my Exo Force, going,
exactly. They were battling,
excellent, but like. I think that's the hard thing is like people give a lot of hate to those things, and it's like, well, you gotta see it from a kid's point where it's like the new Marvel mix don't compare at all. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like
they're very posable, but they're very bland. So, yeah,
they don't like you can smash those things into them and you'll smash apart. Like which I actually got some of the Ninjago ones. They were actually a bit better. So
Ninjago is pretty solid. I would love to bash a Ninjago, but they're good all around. Been around forever. They're not going anywhere.
They have some truly awful sets sometimes, but they're
the 4-up ones. I don't think we can fairly judge those compared to the really nice dragons and stuff that they've done before. So yeah,
sure.
Two different Ninjagos.
Ninjago is sort of like Star Wars, where it's like, it's kind of consistent and middle ground. It doesn't stand out.
Exactly. Yeah,
I bash on Marvel all the time now. I have no love for Marvel. Like, there's like, in my opinion, 3 good Marvel sets that they've done recently.
I've never been once tempted to collect a Marvel set. I think I got one for free one time, and I ended up trading it to my workplace. So it's just, never wanted Marvel. A little bit of Star Wars, never Marvel yet.
Benatar was the only one that I was like, oh, I gotta get that. Like
that one, I can see why that's a good one. That's a good fix. So, yeah.
But getting back to Castle, the real important thing here. Okay, so we talked about. So you would say Knights Kingdom 2. What other ones do you consider like some of the lows in Castle history?
There's a couple points. I would say that most of them kind of occurred in the 90s. I love the Fright Knights. Okay. But they're not the best set design. They're making some parts mistakes. There's a lot of burps going on, and it's a little bit confused. There's some brilliant window techniques, but there's some parts that are really kind of like charming yet not good. And so I do love all the characters, especially Basil the Bat Lord, Will of the Witch, 2 very distinct, iconic characters that have seeped their way into Castle lore, which is great.
Well, they actually get mentioned in the new Castle.
I know, which is super exciting to see them mentioned for sure.
But did you see the bigger thing about Will of the Witch?
No, not really.
There's a little blurb in there, and I freaked out when I saw this, that says, so Magisto is kind of doing like little quotes, and those little blurbs you'll see in the new Castle. And he goes, this cart reminds me of my cousin Willow's airship.
Yes. So she was mentioning the instructions. That's hilarious.
Yes, and it confirms that they're cousins, and they're kind of like bad guys, opposing
Oh
people
yeah,
from what I've
they
seen.
were enemies. Yeah. So
Yeah, but they're cousins. So I mean, that was like, to me, it was like building castle lore. Let's go.
that is cool. That is awesome.
But yeah, I mean, so Fright Night, I kind of agree with that. I think some of the cheaper sets in Fright Nights were pretty good army builders. Like if you,
that's true. Yes,
the buildings themselves were not.
I have no problem with the figures. Some of the sets I'm not as big a fan of, but yeah, hit and miss. So
Yeah, but I agree with you. Willow Witch and Battles of Battleord were great because I love it when Castle you get figures with names or something, like a little bit of backstory, or they stand out compared to your everyday Wit Knight, which is what I love about the new Queen, especially.
Exactly.
Leon, like great figure, and it stands out compared to the other ones. So
exactly, for sure.
So Fright Nights, all right, and we gotta mention. Do you consider Nexo Knights Castle? Like, is that?
That's just a Ninjago ripoff. I mean, that has no business being mentioned with Castle or Space in my mind. I don't know. It's the unwanted redheaded stepchild. No one. Nobody wants Nexo Knights, and if they do, they're just doing it as an ironic way to twist their Castle friend's arm a little bit. That's all it is.
I was at a Lego convention with all the castle stuff displaying, and it was actually not my stuff. It was part of my lug, and they have a huge castle display that they do. And so I was hanging out with them. And this kid goes by and goes, "Where's all the Nexo Knight stuff?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. I want to
over there."
Yeah, go. I was like, no, this is
you got it wrong, kid.
I think there is some cool minifig, like I'm pretty sure there's some like Black Falcon references in it, and there's some like cool armor parts. But no, I agree. It is the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, great pieces, actually kind of cool figures, but it just doesn't work. It's like it should work, but it totally doesn't for some reason. I just can't put it into words that well. But yeah. So.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's I like the idea that they were trying to go for, honestly, like a little bit. Like, yeah, it sounds like a fun idea, but no.
It should work on paper, but it didn't work for whatever reason. It was cursed from the get-go. So
yeah, so okay, so we talked about the lows in Castle. Let's talk about some highs. What is like top 3 Castle themes that you think?
Ooh, okay, so I think I've got to mention the original Castle line from the 70s and very early 80s. So that's like the Yellow Castle, all the accompanying sets with it, like the Joust and the Treasure Convoy. Those themes, they were one and done, gone in a few years. But without those, there would not be minifigures. Without those, there would be no Castle sets. So I really think those definitely deserve a top 3 spot. And then behind that, I would say, gotta be. I want to put Black Falcons up there, but they're just edged out by the Lion Knights for me. The original 80s Lion Knights. The shirt that you've got on right now is representing them great. Yep. And then the other one for me is Foresters, the Forest Men, Forest Guardians, whatever term we want to call them these days. They're definitely top 3 for me as well. So those are some of my favorite themes for sure.
Those are 3 great choices there. And guys, if you want to know what he's talking about with the Yellow Castle stuff, I have done 2 videos on them. Go check them out. The guy who actually made all 3 of them, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but really great designer. And the treasure set's basically a battle pack. You can't compare it to anything else. Like,
got like 6 guys and a treasure chest. Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, no, they were great. But yeah, highly recommend checking out those videos, guys, if you want to learn more, a little bit about like Castle's original history. And there's actually 2 other sets, and I don't know how you could get them, but I found them randomly after I made those videos, where it was like 3 figures that kind of went with the cat. Did you know about those?
Not really. I know there was just the 3 that I mentioned. If there were other ones, I'm not familiar with them. So.
Yeah, they were like minifigure packs almost. I'll send them to you. I found them randomly on Brickset and Brickpedia, and so I'll send them to you. So they're
I would love to see it. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so one of my favorite Castle themes is Fantasy Era. What are your thoughts on Fantasy Era?
So it was a resurgence from somewhat of a darker period. At the end of Knights Kingdom 2 was pretty bad. The third wave, it has some. I think the figures are great, but the sets are horrible. They're awful in general. And so moving out of that, fantasy era had some really kind of comedic, funny stuff with the skeletons. And the trolls were a little bit more serious, I think. They were like, watch out for the trolls. They're going to get flattened. But the Crown Knights were awesome all the way through. And I love the dwarves. The dragons revival with the big kind of modular pieces dragon. Yes. Really good decision, I think, for the time. And so there's a lot to enjoy. Some of the best castle sets have sprung from that line. So huge fan of it. I missed most of it as a kid, but I acquired most of them afterwards. So very good line.
I'm not gonna lie, I picked up like 12 of them recently because I got a bunch of lots where people are like, "Hey, I want to sell you this." So I was like, "Let's do it." But no, right. I have the troll one sitting right behind it, and that one just it was so unique for the castle. Yes. I mean, the Knight's Castle's pretty basic, but I think that you're right. They really did, like, the trolls were like, "Look out, we're coming for you!" Like, as I was telling you earlier, they're not gonna knock down your front gate with a battering ram. They're gonna smash through your wall and then run over your people.
Yeah, it's like you're dead. You're just history.
Oh, okay. So this is a good question from the people in the comments. Question from your books forum: is the new 90th anniversary the best castle ever? Why or why not? I want to actually get your thoughts on this. What do you think of this new castle?
It's definitely the best I've seen as far as techniques, as far as restraint and cleanliness, because it's a massive castle, tons of pieces, but it looks clean, it looks orderly. I'm sure it's deceptively large, and amazing figures. It's basically a culmination and a love letter to the Lego Castle community, which I love, and I think it's pretty. There's definitely I can't 100% agree with that, but I think there's definitely a valid argument to be made that it is the best castle set ever, because a lot of older castle sets, they're amazing, but they are a little basic. It's basically a stone square with towers and figures fighting over it, and that's what's fun, but that's simple. This is a lot more complex. The designers put a ton of work into it, so I think that's I would 60% agree with the fact that that is probably the best castle set we've ever seen and may ever see. I don't know. It'd be hard to top that. So.
$600 castle with market built in the inside of it. I mean,
that's always a possibility. Totally broke. Yeah. That's what
okay. Well, going with overrated castle, I want to know do you think we're talking about amazing castle sets and fantasy era, the village, the marketplace. What do you like? Do you think, like, everyone kind of puts that on a very high pedestal? Do you think it deserves that or doesn't?
It's definitely top 5 of my favorite castle sets for sure, which is, there's a lot of good castle sets out there, and that's definitely one of mine. I managed to get 2 back when that came out because I bought one to build, and I bought one to invest in and save it and sell it later. I ended up breaking it open and playing with it. But so I couldn't do that. Was my only attempt at trying to save up sets to sell them later. But so I really love that set. Nostalgia, and I think it holds up pretty well. It does have, cows, the figures, the torsos, a lot more peasants and civilians, which is a rarity among castle sets, even with the new castle with a lot of medieval peasants. So I think it was a really great direction for Lego to go in at the time, and I think it holds up well. So I'd say top 5 for me, but I'm sure it's got weaknesses. It's not perfect, but I do like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you considering, like, your top 5, like, just general?
First one's Yellow Castle. Second one, Guarded Inn. Third one, Black Falcon Fortress. Fourth, Medieval Market Village. Fifth, probably Black Knight's Castle, just because it's got some really good techniques for its time. So, yeah.
Nice. Oh, very good choices for sure. So let's talk about the newer castle stuff that's coming out. We got last year Blacksmith.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible set. Yes, for sure. I mean, it definitely pays homage to, like, something we've never seen in Castle before, which is just amazing. Like, the roof techniques, like, that was what got me back into Castle for sure, and I'm so happy they bought it. 3-in-1 Castle, thoughts?
So I like the 3-in-1 Castle. I like that it's relatively affordable for quite a bit of pieces, and you got some okay figures. Half of them are great, half of them are not great. I'm not a fan of pirate figures supplanting peasants or any other thing. I was really worried about the upcoming Viking ship that was just going to be pirates with Viking hats. I think I shared a meme about it. It was just like, oh no, it's going to be a disaster. But no, it's amazing, thankfully. But the 3-in-1, it's good. I think it's a bargain castle, which is good, but at the same time, it has the problems of a bargain castle. I think it's actually it's as good as it can be for $100.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I also love what everyone has been doing with it. I mean, the rebrickable for that one castle is insane. Like, it's great. But no, I definitely agree with that. I think it's a great way for new castle fans too, because it does kind of pay homage to that early castle. But like, you're right. Like, get that one, and then if you like that one, get the new castle.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then of course we got the Forest Hideout GWP less than a month. It's a little over a month ago now.
Oh yeah, I think I froze for a second. Yeah, no, it's an amazing set. I'm really happy to see them recreate pretty much part for part as close as they can with improving it a little bit.
Yeah.
An old classic set. That's also one of my. I really enjoy that set. I have that set on display over there, the original.
Nice.
And so it's really exciting to see that. I wish they would do that more. However, I think this is probably a one and done situation. But glad to see the Foresters revived with more figures, new torso design. So really excited about that. I would love to see more, but yeah.
Do you have it? Do you have the new one, out of curiosity?
I do. I have one over there. It's still sealed. I'm planning on building it at some point, maybe as part of a live stream. So I'm kind of thinking about that. I've got another one in the mail from pre-ordering to Galaxy Explorers.
Nice.
When it kind of was still available, and then the Galaxy Explorer came up for pre-order, and I was able to work that out.
Nice.
But then I'm hoping to get another one once it's rumored they're going to add it again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. Which, if you get multiple, let me know, because I have 3 that are still sealed, and I'm planning on doing a YouTube live stream of building them. So
that would be fun. That's awesome. I also
let me know.
I also have the Bricklink Castle in the Forest as well. So I've been wanting to do that one because it's pretty awesome. But it's got to be a special occasion. I can't just bust it open on a Friday night and work on it.
I'm so mad about that one because I didn't get it because I was just getting back into Lego and stuff, and then on top of it, I wasn't a huge castle fan just yet.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about dropping the $400 to get it because everyone's been telling me how worth it is, and I'm like, maybe like a month after the new but even if the new castle comes out, then like. So I did have someone say like they think this one is actually better than the new castle, like not
really
piece wise, but like building technique wise.
Yeah, it's much more like a mock. So pros and cons to that. It'll take a long time to build, but I'm sure it's well worth it.
Yeah, for sure, and it will go great with this set and the new castle. I mean, you got a Forestman's Hideout like right there, so
exactly.
It's on my list to get, but no, I agree. I think that one's like, that set people would give their firstborn child for. Like, you're not going to pull that out.
Get the kidney out for you really quick so I can pay for it. Yeah.
And then, of course, like let's a new Viking ship.
Yes, super excited about that. I was a big fan of the original Vikings line. I got a few of the smaller sets, and I actually got the chess set when it first came out. So I had a nice army of Vikings to absolutely pillage everyone else with. So I'm really excited to see them return. And I'm really excited that it's not the pirate torso with a Viking helmet like we had discussed earlier. That would have been a nightmare situation. But great ship, fun build. It's a creator, so you can do a lot of other things with it. I'm excited to see the rebrickable scene with this build. They've already shown like there's like a lodge and a few other alt builds from the 3-in-1. So probably going to get at least 1 or 2, maybe more if I have the budget. But yeah, so it's amazing. Really excited to be back in this guy.
Yeah, and they did a great job, as I was telling you earlier. Like the minifigures, like you could use those for civilians almost. Like also at the same time for like your
adventurers, rogues.
Yeah. No, yeah, those people too. They're great if you wanted to like throw some Wolfpack hoods or something on them. Well, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then of course, we're getting the new castle, which is just phenomenal. We kind of talked about that a bit. I will say with the new castle, I'm a little bit sad that a lot of the torsos are like we getting the Bard torso reused.
Yeah, repeats of what's been released recently is
But at least we're getting new Crusader, Lion Knight.
Crusaders, they still count.
Yeah. It's always hard.
That's a gray area. Yeah.
Forest Men, it's just changed to Forest Guardians, which I love that they added a little more lore. Like Forest Guardians is a great name. And then we get like Crusaders is technically Lion Knights, even though it's kind of jumped between that like for a while. I just think we need to stop having so many lion factions. That's all I'm trying.
There's a few too many. I would love to see more Raven Knights or things like that. That was a nice original CMF. So there's plenty of other things to do shields on. I mean, dragons, we could maybe see 1 or 2 more for overstays its welcome, but lions, we're good. Come on, do something new this time. Maybe bats, bring them back, bring the Fright Nights back, or yeah. But
I think like we almost need to like drop anything to do with lions, anything to do with dragons. There's another one too that's maybe that was too.
There's a few birds already too. You got the black falcons, you got the ravens. So.
Oh, crowns. That was the third one. Yeah. Stop making crown. Yeah, like
get rid of the crowns. Get a fleur de lis. Get a chevron. Get some cool stuff.
Even just random symbols. Come on, like
exactly medieval looking stuff. Do it. It's fine.
Which. Okay, so this is a good segue here. Any guesses of the future of Castle? We will see a full theme again, or are we limited to creators / ideas / icons from here on?
Yeah. So
do you want to give the average answer we give out to people now?
Yeah. So this is probably the boilerplate answer for most Castle fans. I think we talked about this before the show. Is like I would absolutely be over the moon to see more classic Lego themes like Classic Castle, Classic Space. Those get their whole full theme. However, I'm guessing with a set this big and this awesome, they're hoping to make sure they're like, here's your gift. Be happy for a decade because this is all you're getting. So I think that is all we're going to get. And I mean, maybe another blacksmith type set down the road a couple of years, but I don't think we're going to see a full theme. I'd be very, very surprised, pleasantly surprised, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm still so cynical and burnt after being left almost 7 years without a good castle set. So, yeah.
7 years? Oh my God.
Well, from 2013 till the Blacksmith Shop and the Creator 3-in-1, it was like 7-ish years. Because it was 20, yeah. So.
Yeah. Because we got, there's like a few 4+ sets, if I remember right.
And like the Angry Birds castle was a castle, and Nexonites was a castle, but it's not. So yeah.
Let's be honest though, if they dropped a 4+ set tomorrow, we would all be at the store buying that up. Like if it's castle, like
yeah, exactly, for sure.
But like, okay, if they did bring it back, how would you want them to do it?
So, if they were to bring a castle theme to store shelves, I would want to see it look more fantasy. More like, so if you remember the somewhat unsuccessful, but then later really collectible elves theme from the Friends. So think of it this way.
I know what you're talking about.
The one thing that they're missing from one of the best lines, Fantasy Era, is elves. They have dwarves, they have trolls, but they didn't have any cool system elves. So I like the elf CMF figure. That was really cool. I would have loved to see them expand on that. So it's kind of tying with Forsters. And so I think that's leaning. I would love to see the dwarves and trolls repeat again in different forms. Like you could see different color trolls. Like they did some, Ninjago had this underground theme. They had these kind of pink lavender trolls or like cave guys.
I got a few of those.
Let's get it. Yeah, I actually bought those sets because they're so similar to Castle, and I'm like, I would love to see more stuff like that, a little more into the fantasy stuff, because I think that people that buy that Ninjago stuff and other themes like that would be able. It would be more applicable for kids nowadays. I know adults wouldn't appreciate it so much, but I'm like, I could totally see that happening and being successful. So
this is a great comment. You know, D&D style, and I agree. Like D&D is huge right now. It's not, it's. I mean, it's always been big, but it's definitely gotten bigger. You got a new D&D movie coming out. Like, now's the perfect time to drop something kind of like it.
I know.
Like, I do feel like, though, we need more civilian stuff if they do it, which is like I feel like they focus too heavy on war machines, so they get burnt out. And it's like, look, you can have stuff like the blacksmith. I think that proved it. Like, you know, there's the little blacksmith from Kingdoms, which was one of my favorite sets growing up. Like,
that was a really good set. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was $12 and you get this little hut. Like, and if you got two of them, they went great together. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, no, I definitely agree. And I think I like that, but I think what they need is a group of heroes. Like, take the rogue CMF, take like a figures, the heroic knight, maybe like have a knight, have some sort of rogue type figure, have a magician like Magisto, have some named figures, go about it. And then if you wanted to sprinkle in like, oh, here's Basil the Batlord's land and redo Fright Nights.
Exactly. Yeah. That sounds like a perfect combination, because you've got every Lego fan's favorite fantasy character. They could prefer the wizard, or they could prefer the knight, or they could prefer the dwarf, or the little hobbit, or whatever character they like, the troll. they could get it in that set. There's a huge variety, and it kind of a little bit of something for every player of D&D or every fan of Lego. So that would be I would buy that all day. So awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if it's got swords and stuff, and you can make some cool like knights out of it, I mean, I'm cool. Like I think that is one of the roads they should go down. Like I feel like we're gonna see it come out in ideas a little bit more. Like our creator expert, they might drop something. But like the thing is, like if Lego listened to the fans and looked at Lego ideas, they would see half the stuff, quarter of the stuff on there is castle related.
Yeah. There's a huge amount of castle and medieval and swords content being dropped, so hopefully they listen. So.
Hopefully. I mean, there was the Target vote for the Viking set was one of the 3 options.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard what won that, but I'm really hoping it was that Viking set.
I would love it to be that way. I'm guessing it could have easily shifted to something else though, because of how minimal people would have seen that and actually voted on it. So it could be something more, specific. So
if that was the case, a lot of Castle fans were showing that one to be voted on. So
that's good. Mean, hopefully we rallied around it. I didn't get a chance to vote on it. So hopefully my non-voting was made up for by other people being more active.
So, speaking of Vikings, two great castle themes out there that were kind of not the European style, which was Ninja and Vikings. Mm-hmm. I mean, great themes. Do you consider those castle?
So the OG Ninja definitely, I would say, is basically a sub theme of castle, more so than like Next to Knights or other wannabe castles. So, but yeah, because they use pieces that were present in castle sets at the time, such as the magic scroll from the Fright Knights. And some other pieces, the big battle axes are used. So there's a lot of tie-ins to castle. And remind me the other theme, I kind of lost track. It was Vikings. Vikings, I think, is a little bit more separate for me, just because it's an earlier period of medieval history than the classic medieval knights that we think of. So, like, if you think about it, those would have been like almost as much time difference for them as it would be for us and people sailing across the Atlantic Ocean to, get to America. So it's like it's a big time jump there. So I think Vikings is a little different. So,
I was thinking recently it would be great because have you ever heard of the Saxon Chronicles, the books?
A little bit. I haven't read them, but I'm aware of their existence. So
they're really good. They're basically about the Vikings coming to Europe. And I was thinking, like, really cool if we had sort of a castle theme that was sort of like Vikings. I mean, you can do those like a little more like, little
horns here and there. But...
Yeah, exactly. Make them a little not as frightening. And then like versus your kind of like knight sort of type people.
Yeah, which I was like, era. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get your thoughts on that. Could you would you enjoy that if that was a theme they brought back?
I would love that. That's the early medieval history is amazing. It has so many cool things. I would love to see like Norman style knights. Yeah. They could do some cool chainmail pieces. Anyway, it would be fabulous. However, because it's more historical and it's not as fantasy, I think that it would have less broad appeal. So I don't think Lego's ever going to go that direction, but I would love to see. I think Vikings is about as far as they go to actual history and like Castle itself too, of course. But like Vikings and Castle, those are iconic enough that they're recognized. However, that middle ground where they meshed was a little more specific and niche, so I don't think we'll ever see it. But dude, I would buy that in spades. I would love it. I mean, the closest we got was the Lord of the Rings line with the Rohan helmets are pretty Saxon looking. Not 100%, but pretty close. And they're now like $20 a pop, $30 a pop. And so it's no longer feasible. But yeah.
I mean, Lord of the Rings, great theme right there for medieval fans. I mean, on top of it being an amazing movies, like there was a small part of me last year when I heard the new Lord of the Rings TV show is coming out. I was like, please, Lego, please just like team up with them a little bit. Like, I don't care if they look like the Hobbit sets, which are still great. Like, just give us them, please.
It'd be amazing. They would.
I don't think Lego is partnered with Amazon yet. I know they've done Netflix. Disney is. Yeah.
They haven't, as far as I know, but it wouldn't be that hard. They're two big corporations, and they can work it out if they wanted to overnight. So.
For sure. The only hard thing is Amazon usually makes more adult rated stuff. So yeah, that'll be difficult, but maybe.
If they make Stranger Things, they could get away with a Lord of the Rings set, but they probably won't because of that excuse.
True. Yeah. It is kind of funny that they have these, like, what is it, 2 Stranger Things sets now, and it's just like,
or James Bond cards. Like,
true.
Are you kidding me?
Fast and Furious, like, Fast and Furious aren't exactly family friendly.
The 6 and 8 year olds you're targeting are not watching Fast and Furious yet. Hopefully, anyways.
True.
Some of them are, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no. So I think, so like Castle. I mean, like, favorite sets. Like, I mean, okay, I guess we kind of already talked about that. Like,
a little bit.
Minifigures. Any particular. What's your holy grail Castle minifigure? Even if you have it or don't.
I do have it. I actually just did a video on the Atlanta Brick Co. TV channel about some of my favorite minifigures with some of my friends and their favorite minifigures. And my top picks, 3 of which were Castle. I have it over here. Hold on a second.
Oh, perfect.
So it's these bad boys right here. And as you can see, you got the old original Castle Knight from the Yellow Castle. You got the Forester with the black plume and black decorations on his torso. Then you have the Black Knight Castle Knight with the white plume. There you go. You can see it a little bit.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I've heard that is one of the. I'm gonna give you the full screen here. Actually, that is one of the most expensive Castle figures.
Yes, it is for sure.
That makes no sense. Like, to me personally, this, we've gotten the Gold Knight, we've gotten all these other ones. Why? Like, do you happen to know why? Like,
it's those little plumes right there, because they only came in one set and one accessory pack back in the late-ish 90s, or mid 90s.
Okay.
And because it only came in one set and it was on a pretty prominent mounted figure, it's like, imagine if they only made one chrome gold crown in one set. That would be a pretty valuable piece. Same concept with this. So that plume alone is worth upwards of $50 to intact for the 3 pieces. So that drives a huge. I mean, everything else in that figure is probably 10 cents. But so that one plume costs a lot of money. The horse barding is very expensive as well. And so the whole figure together with the horse is like a $200 package if you want it nice and new. So it's very expensive, very collectible. So, and it's just because of that one darn set right over there. So, yeah.
That's insane. Like, I was trying to figure out what the most expensive Castle figure was, and I was expecting, like, we've gotten all these, like, really crazy.
That one, because there's the Gold Knight from the 2007 line is really expensive too. I'd have to look it up and check. You could look it up on Bricklink, but there's ones for sure. So.
I feel like for some reason it was that one, but I'm gonna look at it now. But yeah, wow, that is crazy. I mean, so you got original Castle there, you got Forceman. I would love them for one of these to bring back that black look, because I think I love the new look, but I definitely would love to see the variation of colors, which was great about Forceman. Is like, you think about a Robin Hood's Merry Men back in the day. It's like, oh, we're just gonna give them the same look, but it was so many different colors, which was great.
Exactly. They had in the books about Robin Hood, some of his merry men would have had full red outfits with red hat and red plume. Like, they would have been brightly colored because of the medieval period. Colors were very important. So,
really?
So yeah. So at that time, they would have, like, the more brighter colors you could wear, the more status you had, the more money you had to spend on clothes. So like the peasants would have had dark tan and brown and whatever common stuff, but if you were able to, you'd buy some nice clothes to be able to wear around. So yeah, that
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So I'm looking at right now, I'm seeing Fantasy Era Gold Knight about $70 cheapest in the US. About 60.
Well, if you don't count the horse, I think it does beat the White Plume Knight, but I'm not sure. So
okay,
because the horse, the barding is like, that's probably at least 60 to anywhere above that in value to deduct from that package. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the knight is probably somewhere in the, I would say it's got to be at least 60 to 100. I'd have to look at it again to make sure. It's been a while since I checked the price, but yeah.
I have a feeling that new Gold Knight, the Queen, that's going to go for a lot at some point, because
that's why I want to get more than one of those castles, because I don't want to have to get it on Bricklinks.
I'm honestly like, I have 120 in VIP points or something like that, and I'm so tempted to like drop, all that and some other stuff and get one, and then like later in the year around Christmas time buy up another, just because I'm like,
yeah.
Because we got the Black Falcon Barding, which is going to go for a lot, because that we've never seen Black Falcon Barding before.
Day of, that's going to be a $60 piece on Bricklink, I'm guessing. So.
Just alone. The same thing with the new Crusaders one. For some reason, I'm feeling the Black Falcon one is going to go up more, just because like Crusaders have, Lion Knights have other ones, but I don't know. It's all up in the air for me.
Yeah. I can see the Black Falcon. That's like the first official Black Falcon barding, so I'm thinking it's going to be like tremendously collectible, expensive. You're not going to see it on Bricks and Pieces, or no, on the Lego.com.
Wow, so that comes on, I will be so mad.
It's going to be gone the instant it appears. If it does, I don't even think it would, but yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. I do love that they're bringing back black helmets and stuff for the Black Falcons for that one, because I mean we didn't see that in the blacksmith and stuff, and it like kind of goes to their roots, which is great. But
that too. So.
Yes, it just looks so much better. I have to figure out a way to now get. I know if you do Bricks and Pieces, because of the chessboard from Harry Potter, you can get the black helmets.
Yes, that's probably an easy way to get them. Yeah.
Yes, I mean otherwise you got to go buy all the ones from other themes, and that's gonna cost you a decent amount. So. I ran out of my questions, but there's so much more I want to talk about castle wise. So I mean,
I'm going to ask you a few questions, Brad. So if you were able to create a new, say you could go back in time and create a castle theme from whatever era, probably like the golden age of the 80s or 90s, what would it be, and what would they be about? So what colors would they have? What shield would they have? And what would they be about? Would they have castles? Would they be bad guys? Would they be Forester-esque?
I'm honestly, the Rangers from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Always been one of my favorite groups. Like the dark green, they kind of they're kind of like the Forcemen, which is one of the reasons they're like my top favorite factions. But like kind of a look like that, honestly, like you kind of do almost like you do a group of those guys, and kind of like we got back then too, where it's like a group of knights, but it would definitely not be a lions, because I'm so opposed to lion factions now. Honestly, like I would love to see like the hard thing is off the top of my head, I'm thinking like a kind of Robin Hood thing, but you got this kind of like Rangers Rogue. I love the Rogue minifigure, the Wolfpack, like get figures that kind of look like that.
Cool forest figures,
yes, maybe like a wolf on them, just because the wolf looks good. I mean, I can't deny. And then probably, I know like they did this for Black Knights for a bit, when they merged Black Knights, Lion Knights into kind of on its own castle thing, and they were against the Forestmen. Have a sort of like bad guy faction where it would just kind of be like very dark looking knights. Maybe you kind of draw a little bit from the Shadow Knights, Shadow faction.
The dark red and black, and
maybe like almost like an orange though. Like move away. I try to, every time I think of trying to make up new factions, I just move away from everything they've done, because it's, we've had red just done to death. Like I hate to say it, but like it's been taken by a hammer and just beaten, like
bludgeoned.
Oh my God. Blue, like, we got the Crown Knights, we got the Lion Knights. I mean, the dark blue was very unique. I loved that. But, we also got it. So I guess that, or something kind of like we got with Fantasy Era. Definitely something with the dwarves, and you get dwarves, you get your human faction. But I'd also love to see a huge civilian element to that, where you got your like serfs, basically, like your your farmer army almost, where get some pitchforks, but like also at the same time you get out of it your farmland, and you get shops and something else besides a blacksmith. Even though I love the blacksmith,
and we need another guarded in, stuff like that. So yeah.
And you could do a brewery type thing, a loom shop. We get a bakery in Newcastle, make that its own set. Like a new windmill with like a wheat grinder kind of attached to it. Like I think I have it right there for Millville Trade. It's a great windmill, but oh my gosh, there's so many better ones. Like
it could be much bigger and nicer. Yeah.
I think we need to get one the size, maybe not the size, but the blacksmith, like kind of similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think something like that would just be awesome. Is just getting a more civilian look to it. Cause this is the second variation of my medieval town. And I've always loved building cities, and it's a great way, like medieval just landscapes are awesome to do because you can set up your troops in them and have them, burning and pillaging it as they go through. But
village to village, it's the saying.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not gonna lie, I may have bought up a couple pick-a-brick cups of fire parts, so at some point have basically raiders going through that. I go dark when I build medieval. Like I'm like, you got your villagers, like so like stuff like that. Bring back goats, bring back cows, like maybe not goats, but sheep. We have those now. Have a medieval farm set like we just
shepherd figure. Yeah, how cool would that be?
Yeah. And we have all the, they just made this new civilian torso. Also, Forcemen, they had like secret cart compartments in the carts you could hide in.
Mm-hmm. That'd be so cool.
But my thing is, if you do start a castle faction, you got to have a good guy and bad guy faction and then start building the world out from there. You have a map. And then, as I said, you have this group of heroes that's maybe, range. You got to have a little bit of range on it, and add a couple fantasy elements. Have some wizards. You don't have to go hard into it, but you could have some like wizards or
just a little sprinkle. Yeah.
Kind of Dragon Masters was really decent about doing that. They had their wizard, and then they had kind of some dragons. So
a few dragon models here and there, and a few dragons. Yeah, so it was good.
This would look really cool though. A dark purple for evil faction. We kind of got that like lighter purple with Knight's Kingdom too. But
that would be pretty sick.
I'm not gonna lie, that I would wear that shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a great shield.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, I know. I think that would be it. Get the oval. I also want circular shields too. But yeah, I don't know. I think that would I guess I kind of didn't really answer your question, but it kind of did.
I totally get the vibe you're looking for in some sets, either like if you could make an old one or looking forward to the future. So
yeah, I think old one though, something Wolfpack related, like a little bit more, I think it'd be cool, like a civilian building, but it's their like secret layers in the basement of it for when
there's a basement, there's a hidden passageway. Yep.
Hidden wall that you can open up. Because like I was thinking about like in the Newcastle, they did a great job of this, and I think this is something I kind of wanted. Whereas like in the Forcemen sets, you can tell that they sneak into the castles. They have these carts that they can hide in and hide stuff in, and I think they're getting into the castles, and they do what rogues kind of do in that kind of situation. They're stealing or whatever, and they have this little fortress inside of it. I think that'd be really cool. But like you have your walls, and then you have like your building inside it, and I think doing something modular walls, kind of like Harry Potter right now, is doing a decent job of it. I think you could do better walls, but bisection of walls, and as you're saying, like the guarded in coming off it. Or I don't think every set should be connected walls, but you have some walls so you could build up. Take your table, build up walls around it, and then you get civilian buildings to put in there or around them. You kind of got your farmland. I think that's what they should be doing. And then of course you have your raiding faction of wolf packs, which is kind of like you got to have your good, you have your evil, chaotic good, and chaotic evil. Like and then add some more on, because look, you can have these two factions, storyline. These two factions teamed up, and now the Bear Knights are coming to attack, or
here come the trolls.
I was honestly just about to go there. The troll, like it's so easy to throw those in. Like I've thought about recently doing a comic strip. I just haven't had the time, and I was like, look, for the first few issues, it's a couple factions go against it, and then you always in every story you always have those two factions team up, and then you have the evil raiders coming in, and
the Mongol equivalent.
Exactly. They got to defend against that. But I think that's where I'd go. I'm a big Age of Empires fan too, so
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up on that game, so like stuff in there. There's stuff you could kind of bring elements from that trebuchet, like
yeah.
So
Exactly.
I'd love to see that, but yeah, that's what that's definitely what I'd go with.
Fantastic choice, Brad. I would buy all those sets. So. If only the Lego executives watching this video would take our advice. That's.
There's many things I wish they would take my advice about. Like, look, Lego, hire me. Here, bring me and Mark on, a few other people.
Exactly.
We will make sure that Castle does better than Ninjago.
Yeah, we will print you money. Yeah, it's like your own money. Yes.
The thing is, look, I think Castle is doing. There's a new wave of Castle fans, and I think a lot of people are helping towards that. I don't want to take all the credit for this, but you got people like me who are starting to do stuff like this, where we're just talking about Castle. We're bringing the Castle conversation. I'm trying to make it so it's overpowering the Star Wars conversation right now, because that's all I see. Everyone talks about Star Wars.
We gotta get them out of here.
I'll even take the space people talking. Like,
oh wow. Yeah, they won't like that, but we'll get them. Castle's the best theme. We know that. So it's
but hey, if space did well, I just want Lego to bring back one of these classic themes. Like, I think honestly, my thoughts is you do a theme just called classic themes, basically, and it's sets here and there. Even if they're smaller, like $10 sets, you have all the pieces now from this new set. Have a jousting set, please. I love the jousting sets they've done.
Yeah.
So.
How easy would that be to do? Just you could even put the 2 new Bardings in there and have a great time. It'd be easy.
$100 set and it'll do fantastic. I'm calling it now.
Yep,
Literally just have to have the Bardings in there.
that would be the best part. I don't know. It'd be awesome for sure. So.
Yeah. Look at some comments. You said you had some more questions like you wanted to ask me.
I have one for you too. So as you've gotten into the Castle scene relatively recently, and you're already enjoying the mock building parts of it, what are some of the other things that you would look forward to in your mock building career that you might want to do one day?
I would love to do a big castle. When I found your stuff, honestly, your mocks, some of those really inspired me. I will say, I don't know who you took the idea from, but you made these cabbages. And there's small things, but I love doing small little detail stuff like that once in a while.
Yep.
One of my goals is actually to start once a month making small little builds. Sometimes I'm not always great at those. Making small little builds and then making instructions out of them, like simple things you could add to your castle. I have to figure out how to do instructions, but I think doing a big castle, I think that's something that's always like would be super cool to do because castles are just. I love doing the medieval village stuff, but there's something about that. And then also more recently, I think it'd be really cool to do like a monastery almost, which is like sort of bigger walls, because I know a lot of them would be like kind of walled to keep it safe. And then of course have some buildings in there.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So I think that's a couple projects I want to do. And then I'm a huge fan of taking sets and building them into a mock, I really want to take the Knight's Crown Castle there and the Troll Castle and basically put them on those plates behind them and then have like a battlefield in between them and build trees and like a road. I have some Forestmen sets I've been wanting to. It's actually my next project. I'm going to build a forest and then have this road. And then I have some like of the carriages and have the ambush scene going on. So I think those are definitely for me mock wise, kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Those are some great ideas. I'm especially interested in the monastery because that is, medieval architecture is like dominated by, churches, monasteries, cathedrals. And I know that can be a little bit overdone sometimes, but I think in the Lego community, it's rather underappreciated, underdone. So I think that seeing more of those would be awesome. Especially with really detailed, you see the monks working in the gardens and there's people visiting. That would be just so darn cool. And you could have the foresters, they're helping the foresters or something,
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you're hiding them. Like you see like some hay bales and you see one sticking out and you got some like, knights going through, like hunting them out.
Where's this forester go? Have you seen them as a reward?
That would be, honestly, that's what we need. We need some wanted forestmen sign, like forest garden signs.
Actually, tile.
The building right there is actually a church that I made.
Nice.
And I'll have some pictures on my Instagram of it, but that's one of the things that like I've done. And so like, that's kind of where the inspiration of, also what was game I was playing recently? I have it on my desk, Stronghold 2.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Classic. Really good game. Yeah. So,
yeah, I was playing it recently. I played it when I was younger, but they have these like really cool looking like monasteries, and I was like, oh, that was kind of like one of the inspirations for that for sure. But I know I think you're right. It's very heavily dominated but not done a lot.
Yeah.
And that
it was a huge part of medieval life, but it's not as seen as much in Lego, especially since Lego's not going to touch anything religious, so they're not going to build a church set. But as far as
one, but sadly not.
A long time ago,
yeah. Way before they started making rules, but like
pre-minifigures, yes, they had a church set, I think. So
yeah, no, it was one of those. I'm pretty sure it was like the cast wheat box or wheat.
The whatever they call it,
castle before the yellow castle. Like
yeah, that one doesn't count. That's just a technicality. Yes.
It doesn't. I remember posting something about the yellow castle, and someone's like, that's not the first castle, and I'm like, it's the first good castle.
Yeah, it's the start of the system line. It's an important thing, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of mock, you got any castle related mocks that you're thinking about working on here soon at all?
That is a great question. The reason I'm cleaning up the studio and sorting down this huge bin of set reviews is because I'm working on a huge castle display that I'm hoping to get done by the beginning of February. There's a convention in the north side of Atlanta called Atlanta BrickCon, and I'm working with the organizers. They're hopefully going to sponsor me. What was it?
Is that the February?
It is, yeah. So
Fazoom's trying to get me to fly down for that one. I'm tempted. I'm not. Maybe.
Yeah, you might have to. If you're on YouTube and you do social media, contact them and see if they're able to kind of, I don't know, invite you down, make it easier, maybe pay for your ticket. I can pull some strings anyway. But
yeah, we'll talk after the show.
After the video. But
work. So
Steven, we're probably going to be sponsored by them to build a huge castle display. So I'm thinking it's either going to be 8 foot by 5 feet, or it's going to be 16 foot by 3 or 4 feet wide. So it's going to be either really long and skinny or more of a rectangle, like a wide rectangle. So, and it's going to be kind of a good versus evil thing. You got all the good factions over here, and they're kind of marching out to this big mountain range, and there's a big gate in the middle. And on the other side of this huge mountain range, there's a huge, like, have you ever seen the video game Doom?
Doom, yes.
Yeah, just like a hellscape. And like a glowing lava and green slime and like mist machines. And there's going to be a huge army of skeletons. I have a couple bags of skeletons back there that I got on Lug Bulk a long time ago. So I have a couple 100 skeletons to deploy with weapons and stuff. So they're going to be like coming up from the ground. We're going to make a huge skeleton monster beast.
You have a wizard for that to like have.
I know there's probably going to be either like a Skeletor type wizard or like a actual Magisto or type character like a Minifigure. But so they're going to be like trying to end the world, and the good knights are all rallying to one last charge to try and stop the evil. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah.
I now want to come down and see that. So when you make a mock like that, do you make it like Mills plates technique so it's like easier to move, or is that literally just going to be like you put that on something and?
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with that technique. I've heard of it, but basically I'll just probably go off of the base plate size. So it's either green base plates, which is the 32 by 32, or the gray base plates, which is the 48 by 48. And so you'll have squares like that then are not connected in any way, but they slide together and match up to each other seamlessly. The weight of the base usually keeps it from sliding around too much. You can also put a plate or a tile on top to keep it together. And then you have a huge amount of chunks kind of going in the direction. Mountains, I usually separate at the point where they reach the ground. And so it's like a chunk of brick that's all together, and that can usually fit easy in a box. Trees and landscaping is a much more difficult part because you have them attached to the surface. So I did a video about assembling my last really big castle, and I had a time lapse of me putting it together. You can see all the chunks kind of going in. That's probably the easiest way to see how I build these big modular scenes. But yeah, definitely modular, not all one piece, because I only have a regular size door over there, and it wouldn't fit through there if it was table size. It would just be like, oh, pivot, no. Yeah.
I can't imagine. I remember your Ragnarok one, was it? The big one. That was smoke coming out the mouth.
Oh, yeah, that's actually right over there.
Oh, wow, okay. So you still have that one.
I do. It's probably going to get taken apart, but right now it's there. I can't zoom in my webcam, unfortunately.
No, perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
So you're
that one was modular as well. That one, it comes into 2 pieces for the water landscape, and then it has the it's basically what I do is like a slightly thicker version of that piece you just pulled off your landscape there. Yeah.
So I use technique. This is actually what my lug does, so we build a medieval town. So basically, the pathway is all kind of the same style, and then we have well, I do kind of like you're supposed to have a Technic pin like 3 in from the side, and that way it can connect up. And this way, literally, because I moved, literally most of the detail got destroyed off this thing. So what I'm doing is basically just bringing plain prelates and then putting the buildings into something separate, so I can just stack troops on them. So
yeah, exactly. If you're putting a lot of figures down, you got to keep that plant life really mowed, as it were. You know, and it can't be that tall and leafy. So yeah.
That's like my kind of goal is to like bring some with me just to kind of like hit down there after I get the minifigures on. Because I'm trying to make like almost like a shield wall type thing with a bunch of minifigures stacked up.
Little formation. Yeah.
Yes. Well, actually, sorry, I kind of hijacking this, but I'm one of the whole things I'm hoping to do is have a line in the front and then have basically you see the troops kind of coming to the sides to build up that wall to make it. So you kind of see it getting formed, which is one of my, and then you got
enveloping out to meet the enemy. Yeah.
And then I'm hoping to have a small faction of 2013 because I got 12 of those guys being trampled by a army of trolls.
Yeah, there we go.
So I got the new Falcons, which as I asked you about, what do you think of the new Falcon torsos we got out of the BAM Tower this year?
Oh, they're pretty nice. They're interesting because they have red, and Falcons traditionally are more blue. But I think that there's definitely some mix-up you could do there. You could have some variety. So,
well, even on top of that, their shield, the faction, is not the same. If you look closely, it's not the same as the Black Falcons.
Oh, really? It's just kind of like their own Falcon. It's a one color, right? It's not half and half. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I got a bunch here because I need to get a few more. So if you look at that, it's a solid color. Now, yes, there was technically some people who had the red capes with the Black Falcons, but I in my opinion, these are like white or red Falcons. These are like the red Falcons. So
subset, maybe, yeah. So.
Exactly. I mean, they come with these Black Falcon shields, but that's just Lego being Lego, in my opinion. So,
yeah, Lego not wanting to make another shield. Yeah.
Real quick though, Fright Knight horse armor goes great with these guys.
Ooh, yeah, I love that combo. That's great. I will borrow that later with credit.
What was that?
I will borrow that later and I will credit you. Yeah.
I stole the idea from someone online, so I can't really take it.
I found this from Brad.
Exactly.
Wherever he found it, I don't know.
Exactly. You just have to say one person. Hey, I've learned this fact. Yeah, I don't know what they got it from. But yeah, so I'm like planning on having like all the knights, including my dragon knights, and then literally like trolls, Vikings, snow guardians, skeletons, all kind of charging into that, and then having maybe 1 or 2 dragons. Kind of, I don't know how I want to do that, but at least I just want one big troll just smashing through a line of knights. So that's all I need. Those big trolls are awesome. I really want them to do more of those at some point. Oh, we lost him again. Let's see if we can actually get him back. Hopefully we didn't just lose him. This is a great opportunity though, while he's frozen. Guys, if you're really enjoying this, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to support the show. If you want to support the show even more, go check out Brick Monarch Shop, guys. You can get amazing wall signs and shirts, just like the one I'm wearing. You can get Black Falcon, Crusaders. These are just the 2 I'm highlighting right now because they're so relevant to the new castle coming out. They even got Forest Guardians. They got all of that. If you look at the shirt I am wearing right now, it is the Crusaders one. This one is from Brick Monarch Shop. So if you want cool shirts like this, if you want cool signs too, please go check out Brick Monarch Shop. There's a link down below. And if you use code BRICKING10, you can get 10% off at checkout. So yeah, I highly recommend that. But I think I had Brad, my PC crashed. Oh no. I don't know what to do here. So we're going to give him a second to see if he can come back. Oh, I think we got him. All right.
My computer just crashed. I think we had a power flex. So I am on. No, the Wi-Fi's back. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Good. Okay, I think we're back. Yeah, the power just went bloop, and then I'm like,
I was like, oh, he's kind of done this. Maybe he'll come back, and I'm like, oh, he's
yeah.
not coming around.
Thankfully, my PC is pretty good, so it had a fast boot up, so we're good. But yeah. So.
Wow, that was really fast. I just talked about Brick Monarch Shop. We're good.
Okay, yeah, definitely recommended. I've been looking at those awesome merch. I haven't gotten them yet. I definitely got to get the shirt you're wearing, and I want to get a few wall plaques because they're pretty awesome.
I highly recommend the Red Crusader. I think the Red Crusader one looks the best.
Gotcha.
And then I want to get, actually, it's in my cart right now. At some point here, I just haven't. I'm waiting for After the Castle. He has a great Wolfpack one, which I just like. I gotta pick that up because Wolfpack is up there on my favorite factions.
They're cool. They have the bad guy cool look. They're not. I wouldn't say they're like evil, but they're definitely the worst of the two. Like Foresters versus Wolfpack. Wolfpack are a little bad. So.
I think it's chaotic evil, like
chaotic evil.
In terms, like they're not really like we're gonna burn your. I mean, they might burn your house down, but like
if they have a laugh over it, they'll burn your house down.
Exactly. But no, I highly recommend like these wall plaques. Actually, like they're metal, so it's not like some paper thing. Like they're really gonna do well. Like I moved them, and I only got like a couple scratches on the back of the metal, but besides that, they're fantastic. So I highly recommend them.
Yeah, I got a few spots I can put a couple here. It'll look good.
You can get rid of that Lego Movie sign. Put a few up over there.
Exactly. We'll scooch it over. It'll be good.
Here we go. Good question. I like pulling questions from the comments sometimes. Any thoughts on minifigure parts used for castle from other themes? Examples: Hunchback from the Studios theme makes a great peasant. Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head out what's out right now. Harry Potter definitely can use tan to make the castles, those different castle segments, and there's a couple sets that come with like some shields and stuff. I mean, especially if you get, I don't have the chessboard with me here. Has a lot of swords. They're not the right color, but they'll work. And Ninjago sometimes can get some good stuff. It's in a box. I'm planning on doing a build with it, but the Ninjago had this recently, and from the Evo line, I'm pretty sure it's called, this great temple that's some great like architecture on it. And I got that because I'm hoping at some point to make it into like a feudal Japan type build and have some samurai with it. So
that'd be pretty sick. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I finally got some time to work on stuff like that. So this is priority, but at some point I'm like, that'd be pretty cool to use that. And it also was kind of a cool line from there. So Ninjago. Yes, exactly. Ninjago, Harry Potter, I'd say that's out right now. Besides that, I can't really.
So in the old days, before they even had peasant torsos, they would often break out the Jedi robes. They would also the Jar Jar Binks figure has a kind of a vest that's tan colored, and the classic one didn't have any neck. He didn't have like a skin tone neck, so you could do it yellow or flesh tone. So there's a couple things from the Star Wars universe that do work a little bit, not as much today, but definitely some of the classic ones. So.
I would say, I mean, I wouldn't spend $50 just on this figure, but the new Obi-Wan figures are really well good for that. The new brown, I think the new Obi-Wan Starfighter, if you plan on getting that figure right there with the brown robe over the tan is just great.
Looks like a monk, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I'd put it that way. I'm trying to think of any other themes that are out right now. I think 3-in-1, there's some cool stuff that you could probably use, at least parts wise.
That's the problem. Medieval peasants are hard to find just because only a few sets and they're all kind of pricey. So,
yeah, I think honestly, if you can still get that Bard figure, just buy up as many of those as while they're cheap, because those, in my opinion, are some of the best peasants we've gotten recently.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other ones. Also, seeing some great comments here. I think CMF lines would be a great way for Lego to bring back classic themes, like classic factions. Do them even better.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, those are some of the good questions we're getting there. But yeah, sorry, there's like so much castle stuff. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to like talk about certain stuff. Be like, why don't I just jump down this alley willy-nilly? Like,
gotcha. Yeah. Well, let's see. So you started your community dive through Lego sets, and then you kind of ran into the other people that you know and you engage with later down the road. I would say my experience is a little bit different because I kind of found the community first, having had some of the sets in the past as a kid, and then kind of I found a couple really iconic builders from the past, and then kind of was inspired by them to start building. And then the people that I ended up hanging out with and friends day-to-day life kind of came afterwards. So it wasn't set-based, and I wasn't as quick to find like a community. And I think that your transformation from enjoying them as kid to a full-on AFOL with all the sets, like you have a rapid growth in the community. I'm really impressed by that, Brad. It's pretty awesome.
I appreciate that. So how it went down for me, because I was talking about, I bought the blacksmith. I bought Barracuda Bay first because I was out, and then someone was like, hey, by the way, there's a rumor of a blacksmith coming out. I'm like, oh, that sounds super cool, because it won ideas. I was the first one in my hometown from the store to pick up that set the day it came out, to walk out of the store with that set. I am very proud of that fact.
That's awesome.
Like, I picked up that set, and it just stirred something in me, because I had the Kingdoms. It was the little catapult with I have it sitting here. I know I have it built still. I think it's up there or something. But it was one Lion Knight, and it was like a $10 set, one Lion Knight and one Dragon Knight. And that's the only castle set I had. And then Barracuda Bay came along, and then, as I said, I was looking at the blacksmith, and I was like, oh, I want to get some of those classic Kingdom figures for myself, because I, going around with the blacksmith. So I started buying some of those up. And then it was I started doing the medieval towns. So I started buying up like castle lots, which honestly, if you're wanting to get into castle, people, Facebook Marketplace and Mercari, finding people who are selling just minifigures for cheap, such a good way of doing it. Sure. And then I started building my medieval town, became pretty well known for that on TikTok, because that's 18 base plates right there. So I mean, it's not your big huge, but it's still
that's a good size. I was looking at it when we first started the video. I'm like, that's a nice little layout right there. Well, not little, nice layout.
It really is. I mean, I have like water over there, and I'm working on putting clear tiles in that, because I finally got them off my pick-a-brick wall.
There you go.
This was like my first big mock I actually ever did, because I technically did mocks back in the day, but they weren't like this. Pick-a-brick wall. That's when I discovered the pick-a-brick wall, and holy crap, was that so useful.
It's vital.
It really is. And then 3-in-1 Castle came out. I started looking more into Castle, and then it was bad, because over that time period, I started buying up like maybe 1 or 2 Castle sets. I got the Lord of the Rings pirate ship over there. Then I think it was when a little bit after the Snow Guardian CMF, because I started buying those up in just droves. My store, one of my former coworkers complained to me, because when I worked there, I had the discount on them. So I started buying up as many of those as I could. He's like, dude, I couldn't get a single one of those because you just kept buying them.
Well, with the discount, yes, buy them all. Yes.
And then people started trading me for them. I'm like, let's go. I'm good. Like, let's do it. Exactly. And then I want to say it was like 3 months ago now, or 4 months, I started buying up castle sets in droves, and I think I bought thousands of dollars worth of castle sets. It was not good. It was really not good. Like,
they're not going to get any cheaper, so I mean, I think it's a good decision. I think so.
Put it, but it doesn't help my I literally stopped buying like everything else, and literally just like I bought, because I love the Dragon Knights, I bought their tower and their little gate thing. I bought a crazy amount. I had the Wolfpack tower up there, which you can't see. I got nice. That one for pretty cheap, and I have all but one Wolfpack set. Yeah, and it is on my goal to find that one for a decent price. But that one's a little bit hard. I mean, it's not really that cool, but it's still
Wolfpack is cool. So I don't know. It's
I have a little army of them. I have like 3 of the rogues for Wolfpack too. So so like literally, thank you. I literally dived into Castle and was like, you know what? Screw everything else. We're just gonna do this.
Exactly. Castle's the way to go. I'm so glad you saw the light, Brad. It's amazing.
It actually was a little bit of your stuff, because Moto, I had him on my show Stud Buds, and he was like, I was like, what castles people should I look at? And he's like, Mark. And then mentioned Nexo Knights to him. And then you never messaged me after I messaged you the first time, but it's okay. We're friends.
Yeah. I was pretty busy. I might have even, I'm not sure what I was going on there, but I was not getting to my messages. And I often I because of the Lego Masters stuff, I can't just let anybody message me, so I have to filter it. And so sometimes I just don't check the filter to make sure that the good messages are coming through. So my apologies, Brad. We did connect.
We found each other at the perfect time, because this is I didn't know that much about Castle. So Fazoom to me is a big inspiration because of what he knows about space. Like,
yes.
Fazoom is, if you want to know any questions about space, you ask him in an instant. And that's how I want to be known. Like, I want to be almost the Fazoom, like, of the Castle community for people who aren't big Castle fans. And so I started my journey is, I told you my series Tavern Talk. I've done Black Falcon so far and Wolfpack, and a couple other videos about early Castle. But every time I make one of these videos, and I've been doing a CMF line where I go through CMF Castle figures and doing videos on them. And my goal is to learn more about Castle every time I do that. And hopefully by the end, I'll be like, oh, you want to talk about Knights Kingdom? Let's do it. Like, I all banned. Like, so yeah, literally I started deep diving into the lore of Castle, and it's a well of craziness and weirdness that Lego never actually had right. Like,
all these different, like, the people printing the pamphlets, the people making the sets, the people designing the shields, they all didn't communicate because they're all different and messed up.
No, they didn't. It hurts me. So I thought that theme had lore behind it or something. And it hurts me to the core when I started looking into it. And I was like, wait, so it wasn't Black Falcons at first. That was actually something that came on later. And then it's like, it technically was Lionites and then Crusaders. And now it's Lionites again. And now it's like, oh gosh. Like,
they were just like, we need 2 castle sets this year. Let's add them on there. Yes. Bada boom, they're out.
And then they try to. And then they had those little pamphlets like, oh, this is what the Forcemen are. This is what the Wolfpack are. This is what the Black Knights are. And then at some point they try to transition Black Knights into, Black Falcons into Black Knights. And
then the Black Knights into the Dragon Knights. And it was this kind of very dark ages for Lego in a way, but at the same time, there's a lot to appreciate too.
So much to love, so much. And I'm really glad that more recently, it's really cool. If you look at I sent you all the pictures about the instruction booklets. If you look at them, it's actually like this set takes place 30 years after the original theme, like quote unquote, which is really cool because I think the Queen is one of those maidens from like Maiden's Cart or something like that we've seen. And I'm looking into it. I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to put my money on before I make that statement in a video. But
that seems like a really logical conclusion to me. Like, it didn't occur to me who she was before she became Queen. But now that you say that, I'm like, that totally adds up. I mean,
right. And so King Richard is technically the leader of the Crusader, like Lion Knights. So, because if you read, there's one where it's like Black Knight and the Crusader, like Black Knight was leader of the Black Falcons. It's actually confirmed in the new set and those little instructions things. It talks about the Black Knight. And then, of course, we got the King Richard because it's Crusaders. So King Richard. But that was never a figure. So when this new set came out, when I was a little bit sad, I was like, oh, come on, can we get a king? Like, we've needed a king for this faction. But now
a named king, for a long time.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like what happened was, it's 30 years. The king has kind of passed away, was maybe killed by the Black Knight or something. And then it could get dark. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It was medieval back then. Yeah.
Maybe the daughter killed him. We don't know. But like, I think what happened is when those maidens, she grew up, she becomes the new queen, Lane, which is lioness in French, which I think is just such a fun detail. And then I think on top of that, you look at it, the Black Falcons, they are now in peace. If you look at the box art, they're at peace with the Lion Knights, which is just
they're just chilling.
Yeah, 30 years later, they're together. Like it's, but maybe there's the Black Knight. Back in those days, whatever monarch you had kind of made you hate whoever they would make up some stuff and you go to war with them. And so I think that was like a fun detail that we got mixed in there. And I think like, maybe, and then it's like, there's a part about the Wolfpack. And I think they're now banished from the kingdom, kind of like they finally came together, pushed them out of the forest, burned down their hideout or whatever. Like I could see it happening, but the Forest Guardians, like they haven't been able to find them yet. Cause they're, seem to be friendly with them, but also at the same time, like
super elusive and probably supported by the peasantry.
You know what? Probably not wrong.
It could be.
Exactly. But I think it's kind of cool. It's like, that kind of surrounding mystery, that early castle factions, but now we're kind of seeing like how they come together. And there is a little piece in there too. I should have thrown these up on the screen, but there is a little piece about these, I forget what they're called, are going to be great against the Dragon Knights. And my brain goes, is that Black Knights or Dragon Masters? Like, I can see Lego just being like, yeah, these are the Dragon Knights, the Black Knights. Now I'm just being like, oh no, come on. Like,
or maybe they're talking about that future wave that we say isn't going to happen. You never know. So, yeah.
That's true. I mean, like,
maybe we're super lucky. So.
Oh, maybe. But I feel like, because they also mentioned Fright Knights, which, we got this weird relationship there because there is a letter from Basil the Batlord. He's got to be super old now, but maybe the, Will of the Witch is keeping him alive. Like,
maybe he's an immortal vampire.
Oh, I love these theories. Theory is the Lord Basil killed the king, and he and Wolfpack and Black Knights are going to invade the kingdom.
That would be a pretty dynamic situation for sure. So.
I love it. I don't think that's it. I feel like maybe they're trying to do a peace treaty there or something, or it's, bewitching the queen. Okay. How much do you know about Majesto?
Just a little bit. I know he's, he came out with the Black Knights. He's been repeated in various.
You mean Dragon Masters?
What was that?
You mean Dragon Masters?
Oh yeah, Dragon Masters. Yeah, sorry, I get the two.
You're good.
No, he was with those sets. He had his own. He had a cool house. He had his own tower. He had a chariot with wings. It was kind of cool. So I just now learned that he's supposed to be his niece. Is it that, or is Will of the Witch?
Cousin is Will.
Cousin, yes. And I didn't realize they were related. So I was like, that's interesting. That makes total sense though, because they're both powerful magic users. But that's about all that I know about him, other than he's like a classic Lego wizard.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to me because I looked him up on Brickpedia, which is, I get a lot of information about, look, it might be off, but I'm pretty sure they do a pretty good job of making sure that information is pretty correct. And it turns out he's technically a bad guy, even though everyone treats him like it, because he's like, the Black Knights and Wolfpack, I guess they're technically bad guys. I know it's kind of hard because they treat the Dragon Masters like good, they treat them like good guys at first, and then Royal Knights come along and they treat them like bad guys. Again, there's complicated history here, but like he's technically this evil wizard who's like ahead of the leader of the Dragon Masters, technically. Yeah. And I think it's very funny. Like, you'll see him. I was playing. I just wanted to play the games of like. There's like this new. I forget. It's like Lego Legacies. It's like an app game, kind of like
Lego Battles or Lego whatever it's called. Yeah.
There's a couple of them, and like Majesto's this like good guy in it, kind of. And I'm like, and you also see him
kind wizard. Yeah.
And then in the new Crusaders, the Lion Knight's Castle, he's this like good guy who's like, got his own little room there, and I'm just like. I think it's Lego always kind of putting him as a good guy. So they're like, okay, we're just going to kind of make him a good guy in these sets. Like,
yeah. I remember reading some box art from the Dragon Masters sets. We get a lot of stuff at Atlanta Brick Co. So they have these beautiful fold out boxes, and it was describing the wizard being like kind of a trickster. So I can see why they're getting that background for that, especially like at the time, the wizard was like, ooh, he's a spooky, mysterious wizard. He's got ghosts and ooh. So and dragons. Oh, so it was kind of like a much more mysterious and possibly villainous side to him. So maybe he, in his older age, has started to mellow out a little bit. I don't know. So,
yeah, I wonder if I can pull this up real quick. But in the set, let's see if I can find it quickly. It goes. Shoot, where is it? So when you're building him, shoot. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find this real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead and find
it. Dang it. Where is it? Oh yeah, back in the body. That's better, though it's not quite as I remember it. 20 years is for too long to be without it. So, hey, maybe he was killed and then he comes back as this kind of like good wizard, had 28 years to think about his life. Like,
maybe it's like a Harry Potter Horcrux thing where you can like transfer his soul and stuff. I don't know. That's what that is suggesting to my brain, but that's
I mean, it's kind of interesting. Someone thought maybe Basil the Batlord took over his body because I sent it to them and there was a little bit out of order, and they're like, I was like, no, it's got to be this. But like, maybe that is true. Maybe someone. I am a little bit sad we didn't get printing on that figure. I will say that was the biggest I want to say failure of that set almost, but
yeah, it was not they were intentional about it, but it feels like an oversight, and it's the one. It's definitely a downside to that set. Otherwise, it's pretty amazing. But there are like I'm thinking they're gonna at some point have to cut corners so it's not 450, or more, so it's
true.
It's
But just one little printing on that. Like, you just literally take the civilian torso, do it blue like they did before. Like,
I know, yeah. Oh well, but
like they did a great job on the band figure for the wizard. Like,
yeah, I had it. It's probably over there, but no, yeah, it's a beautiful figure, and I would say that they have made other versions of blue wizards before that are very like CMFs, for example. They have one that's got this cool pointed hat. You could very easily customize a Magisto that looks truly majestic. So.
Yeah, for sure. Were you gonna say something else? Sorry, I think I cut you off.
That was it. That was the end of my thought. Yeah.
I think it's really cool that we are seeing like kind of almost them taking these original sets and giving it a little more lore. Like, it was the Forest Men, now they're Forest Guardians, which is kind of cool. It's definitely like there's two parts of me that struggle with this. There's a part of me that's like, but Forest Men is such a classic name, but it's like Forest Guardians does kind of have a cool ring to it. Like, they're very. Someone made the comment like they're very green, like they're very much like we're saving the earth type people.
Yeah, they were the ultimate green anarchists of their day. They totally were. And I think that it's Forest Guardians is probably a better term because Forest Men, some people might not like the male connotation there. It doesn't really occur to my brain, but I can see why people wouldn't like that as much as Forest Guardians is completely neutral and probably. It's also it has a little bit more of a positive spin too, because it's like they're protecting, they're doing this out of a good reason. So I think that I'm totally fine with them kind of a little rebranding it, as long as they're basically exactly the same as they were back in the classic sets. They just have a new name. So yeah.
I was gonna say, I think they have like a little bit of a new title, like because originally they were like, oh, they're just kind of like fun, merry people, whereas now Forest Guardians are lover of nature and guardians of the forest. These honorable outlaws have chosen life away from the castle and its bustling surroundings. However, the forest people are not without their secrets. They are often spotted around the castle. What are they up to remains a mystery.
Exactly. More mysterious. So
yes, whereas I think the original one was just like we like to have fun and party. Like
yeah, they were semi outlaw, but mostly just like the party, like that lovely poster behind you with the two goblets and the grapes. That really showed. Yeah, that was their motto basically. Yeah,
I feel like that is very true. And you're right, and I think Forest Guardians also is like honorable outlaws. It kind of makes them sound a little more like Robin Hood's group. Which I think, that's fine. And, but you got to bring in that wolf pack. We got to have that chaotic evil now. Like
exactly. Now the wolf pack are the true bad guys. They're not like true bad guys, but they're the bad boys. They're the little bit villainous. They like to rob. They're probably like highwaymen. They're hiding under the bridge to rob you.
Oh yeah, they're the troll under the bridge. I kind of like in my head canon, which I think is the great thing is we get into little bits of lore, which is like, okay, this is kind of like what's canon, I guess you could say, but it's like it's great things to like have fun around with. What I love is like you can have head canon around this, and everyone makes up. I always get commented about it, and I'm just like, look, this is what Lego's put out. I just want to show people, but in my head, like Dark Forest comes from Wolfpack and Forest Men having kind of. Some people from Forest Men want to be a little more like Wolfpack, but not entirely. So they split off to be maybe both those groups, the kind of people who are kind of in the middle split off together. And that's where Dark Forest came from, of this little more like kind of darker version of Forest Men almost.
Yeah, a little bit. They did seem more kind of menacing. I don't know if they had any like captive prisoners in their outpost or anything, if I remember the set correctly. But yeah, they seem to be a little bit more like, we're going to take you down, versus the Forest are just like,
I definitely agree. And I think it would give us such great storyline if they wanted to do like prison carts again with them collecting at the Forest Men. Like we could have the evil king that takes over the castle, like, John. Basically, that's what we're pointing to.
King John of England. Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. Everything they've done in this set to me just points to them making Newcastle. But at the same time, I'm like, I think this is just them being like, dance my puppets. I want to make you feel good. I want you to feel like you have your castle stuff. But in reality, no.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much that. I would describe Lego's position on this as more like they're like, knock, knock, knock. It's like, what is it? Knock, knock, knock. What? Just go away. Not now. Knock, 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 knock. Fine. Here, take it. Now stop. So that's what I see Lego is. It's like they're like, fine, we'll give you the best set ever. Now shut up. That's that's the vibe I get as a Grumpy Castle fan of many years. But so that's kind of how I see it unraveling. But yeah,
I totally agree.
So
question, yeah, I mean, quick question though, like with this castle, if they did do another castle, would you rather them create new castle factions or keep going with older ones?
Given that it's definitely an anniversary thing, I think they would do Basil the Batlord or a little bit more Black Knights, Dragon Knights, do some stuff like that if they were to continue this in this wave. But I would love to see some new shields. I think that so far all we've done is kind of redo what's been done before, and like in a much nicer way, because like all the shields are greatly appreciated, new torsos, new bardings, but they're all the same designs we've seen before, just updated, nicer. So I don't think we'll see a lot of new stuff. Maybe some CMF references like the Raven Knights or the things that they've done. Maybe the Bears, but I don't think we'll see too far off into the new category. But mostly just kind of like enjoying what's there. And I think that this is probably one of the more viable ways for them to do it, because there is a big demand for classic Lego stuff. I mean, the blacksmith shop just kind of proved how much people want Castle, but it also was like, Black Falcons are back, woo! So, so I think that there's that too. So.
The only argument I have against bringing back old factions, like Fright Nights would be good to redo, but it's because, you know, if you do something like, I don't know, a lot of people had problems with the new Castle because it's the original Castle fans, and it's like kind of feels almost like stepping on the memory of that in a little bit. Like it's, and if they do that, there's a lot more, you know, it's like we've seen it with Star Wars. When Star Wars brings back something older and, you know, tries to do it, a lot of people like, it gets a lot more hate because people like, there's something that they are attached to. And if you do it wrong, people aren't going to like it.
Clone Turbo Tank.
Exactly. So it's like,
or Battle Tank.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it was. But like, I think if you do it, whereas like something like Fright Nights, where people have kind of attachment to, but also let's be honest, everyone's kind of like, we would love to see Fright Nights was awful. Like it can be done so much better. Like
nowadays, a modern Fright Night would be insane line. Yeah, sir.
Especially if you went with like a couple like darker colors, like Basil the Batlord, you can make him truly an amazing figure. Like, and also like bring us back flags in those capes. And this new set, it just proves that we need those. Like that new cape for the Queen is chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the technology for figures has really improved in the past decade, so we could get some amazing figures, especially Basil and Will of the Witch could be just stunning figures now.
Oh gosh, like it would make any Castle fan so happy to see them brought back.
I'd be buying them, I know that. So.
Oh gosh, I mean CMF figures, I would even buy them as. I mean, it would make more sense to stick them in a castle because then Lego can make more money off it. But I think I agree. Now we just need to be knocking at the door for battle packs. Like,
yeah,
just $20, just $20 sets. 3 minifigures, $20 sets. Yes, honestly, what I want them to bring back is there was this great pack back in the day that was like, I think it was 2 Black Falcons, 2 Lion Knights,
and a Forester.
Yeah, I think maybe it was two black, like a Black Falcon, a Lion Knight, a couple Foresters, and then like a civilian. And it was like 5 figures for like $10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know how well that would do?
Yeah.
Like, think about how well those clone blister packs do. Just imagine that, but Castle, because Castle fans would. I mean, you already start with the new BAM figures. The new BAM figures going off the shelf. I see people with hundreds of those guys already. Like,
so a comparable example is for the Lego Movie 2, which wasn't necessarily great. It wasn't as good as the first one. The sets did not do well. A lot of them were on sale not too long after. One set that they couldn't keep in stock was the classic Space Battle Pack with the 3 or 4 classic space guys. One of them was pink. It was
yellow, right?
Yeah, I think that was the 3, and maybe
blue.
Benny.
Yes,
Benny, yeah.
I have
and
it.
So,
it's there.
yeah, and so that I got like 3 or 4 of them, and I'm a classic space fan. I'm not like as big as Castle, but it's like, so I'm like, and they were out of stock everywhere. If there was a Castle version of that, that'd be insane. I mean, yeah, agree.
Yeah, like, and even every time we've gotten a set recently, it's done well. This set proves it. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain like this is Lego's greed. Like, if this had been a set, I think they could have made a ton more money because of it. But also at the same time, people are spending $150 to get 4 of these. Like at times, and I can't deny that I'm not one of them.
I've made a few more orders than usual just to get those sets. Yes.
Yeah. And that's my thing is people are like, well, you could just wait a little bit before getting the new Castle stuff. I'm like, free Castle is free Castle. I don't care about that Harry Potter GWP. I don't care about that. I care about the Castle one.
Yeah, exactly. The Force Guardians, whatever we call them now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then on top of it, I think the new Castle, I think it's not going to do great because it's 400, but I also at the same time, so many people are going to be buying that setup. I
think so. I'm getting up at midnight to get it, or pre-order it, and so it's gonna be good.
I'm hoping to get it the 3rd, because I'm still friendly with my store people, and I was gonna take the day off to go get it from my Lego store, but I'm leaving for Brickfair, Virginia that day, which is also hard. Like, Lego, you're giving me this, and then Brickfair, Virginia, I'm about to spend a ton of money at.
That ironically has nothing to do why I'm not going to Virginia this year, but
yeah, I gotta spend $1,200 on 3 of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, and I think Blacksmith too, and 3-in-1 Castle, we've seen those sets. Like every Castle person I know has at least bought one. At least I have 2 copies of the Blacksmith. I have one that's on my shelf, and then when I was working at the Lego store, I bought one for half off because I was like, I'm gonna do that. And it's sitting over there, and I'm like, I'm saving it for a bit, but at some point I might build it. But I think it just shows that we want our Castle. We do, and people are paying so much money to get it. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully the Lego executives realize what's going on and they put a few more sets out and they don't just end it on the big one. Yeah. We'll see. So
I do have to say, I think if anything, go with some sort of movie that's kind of Castle related.
Lord of the Rings. Why didn't they do it? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings. Sort of similar, but Percy Jackson show is coming out in Disney Plus. I would love some Roman kind of type figure, a Greek mythology figures. I have a small collection of centaurs and satyrs and people like that because they're cool. You know? Something like that. I think that's the best direction to go.
Absolutely. Behind Castle, Greeks and Romans are my next favorite thing. So I'd be overjoyed to see some representation for that besides just CMFs. So.
When I was younger, Playmobil was my big way to have that Castle love, and I had a ton of the Roman sets. I even had the Roman ship at one point. I was I didn't have a ton of Castle stuff, so that was my way of doing Castle. Because at some points I do Lego Castle and build some figures. Because my brother actually, they had some of the Dragon Masters sets.
Wow,
so I had figures to it, and they're still sorted in my containers somewhere here. But I never built those back. I didn't know what they were to, but I'd build some knights to try to have a small army on top of my One Kingdom set. But usually it's if I want big scale battles, I'm gonna go to my Playmobil where I got 10, 20 Roman soldiers to make my shields into
Exactly. Yeah. See, Playmobil understands what's going on.
Really do. It's sad that Playmobil still makes great Castle sets. They're doing, Castle. They're doing historical stuff. They had Civil War stuff at one point, which was just awesome.
Yeah.
And it hurts sometimes that Lego won't go down that road. You don't have to go historically accurate. You can do that little look at the new Castle. Do what you're doing with that. The Vikings figures with the big hordes.
Yeah, have fun. But little historical is great for sure. So.
I had a big dragon in. I mean,
exactly. Big old dragons. Everyone loves dragons. Ninjago proved that everyone loves dragons. So yeah.
Actually, that's the other one. People were asking what you could get. Get a Ninjago dragon. It's not that hard to turn some of those. I think there was a nice fire run that was out recently that looked really good. So
exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, I want to keep talking to you, but I think we got to wrap this up here.
Exactly. Yeah. So, hey, I got one thing to show you. Since you like castles so much, let me break this up and show you real quick. So I talked about there was a castle episode on Lego Masters, and me and Steven didn't win. Spoilers. That episode. But I feel like I'm the real winner because I ended up with a little prop here.
I think I've heard about this story. Oh my gosh.
So that is a big old sign that it was on the show, and it was actually lowered down, and then it walked off the set because a person was behind it carrying it around. And so we ended up with this because it got traded into the store where I work. And I immediately told Chris, I'm like, Chris, I'm buying that today. You know that, right? He's like, yeah, it's fine. So he gave me a tremendous deal on it, so I got it.
That is insane.
Yeah, oh my! It barely fit in my mom's SUV because I drive a tiny Civic. I couldn't fit it in my car if I tried, but so that was I got that over here, and I'm like, yeah, I may have lost that episode, but I got the prop from it, so I'm pretty happy about that.
The real castle, man.
I got the huge thing. It's too big to hang up, so it's just over there on that side of the wall. So yeah,
that is insane.
Yeah.
I had heard some story from a mutual friend that you had somehow gotten some piece of Lego Master. I can't remember if it was one of your builds or something that, like, you know, some of the
we got little trinkets all over. I can't show any of the more brick related ones for reasons, but that one I feel comfortable sharing. Like the trophy back there, so that's another spoiler. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is awesome. We were definitely. So usually I have panels and we deep dive into topics. So next time I'm gonna have to get you on one of those panels. But
for sure, we're best buds now. Just hit me up. I'll be there.
I mean, I need to talk to you a little bit after the show. There's some stuff I need to ask questions about.
For
so,
sure. Yeah.
So real quick, where can people find you? After the show, like, what if they want to watch more of you? I mean, if you guys aren't following him, I don't know what you aren't doing. So
if you're a Castle fan, you probably want to follow me up. The easiest way is probably just Google Mark of Falworth. So Mark of Falworth, FALWORTH, and
there's a link to his website down below. So
yeah, it's markfalworth.com. You can find all my socials there too. But if you Google that, first thing that comes up is Flickr, Facebook, Instagram. I'm pretty active on all those, not so much on Flickr anymore, sadly. It's just nobody's there. Exactly. And then you can see me every single day pretty much on Atlanta Brickco TV, which is on YouTube, and their Instagram and Facebook. So you can catch me on live streams there all the time because that's part of my work. So, yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Highly recommend going checking that out, guys. As I said, I linked his website down below. So if you want to go follow off his socials, he also has kind of cool builds that are up there. I was not going to lie. I was like earlier in the week, I was like, all right, I need to find some like a beacon or link tree for him. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of cool castle builds here hidden on his hidden YouTube channel that I didn't even know existed.
Exactly. Over a decade of castle builds, a few thousand builds. So yeah. Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, guys, if you want some inspiration for your builds, I highly recommend going check him out. And then also on Lantern Brick Co., which now I know that's a thing. I'm going to have to start popping that out when I need a live stream or two. So yeah, exactly. Highly recommend going checking him out, guys. Also, look, he's got a rap sheet higher than most content creators out there right now. Winner of Lego Masters Season 2 is nothing to laugh about, even if you haven't seen it. But like, it was, I mean, okay, funny story though. I was literally, I was driving a coworker somewhere to drop them off. And I was like talking about what I was going to be doing tonight. And they're like, oh, who's your guest on? I was like, you watch Lego Masters, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, it's the winner. And they're like, oh my gosh. Like, so you're known. Like,
yeah,
not much known about Lego, but they know that. So yeah, definitely go check them out, guys. And look, if you enjoyed today's episode, you can do multiple things to support me. One, go follow me on Instagram, TikTok, if this is your first time watching. Those links are down below. I got a big beacon that just has all those links. Hit the like button on this YouTube video. Comment down below what your favorite part is and what if there's a castle topic you want us to deep dive in. Maybe I'll bring Mark on again, Brickstop, and some other cool content creators. We'll deep dive into that. And then on top of it, just hit that subscribe button. And then last off, go to the Brick Monarch shop. Look, use code BRICKING10. You'll get 10% off, and it's worth it. And it helps support this content each and every time, one of you guys. And I want to thank everyone who has bought and stuff using my code. But again, look, these shields, they're pretty sick. and they're worth it. And also, there's some really cool stuff that I can't talk about that I know they're putting out here soon, including if you've ever seen this one, I know I can talk about. There's a little light up thing that has like castle faction shields on it, and they're really cool. They posted some stuff on their Instagram a while ago. They're just starting to figure out the last things, but they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Even if you're a space fan too, or just classic. So I highly recommend going and checking them out. Thank you to everyone who stopped by the stream today, guys. And we're gonna wrap the stream up here. But again, thank you to Mark and everyone who came out. And I hope you guys don't have a great rest of your day, and hope to see you on the next episode of the Knights of the 2x4 Sable. And don't forget to brick up to that